Hi everyone. In this video tutorial series, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to recreate the classic game Pong using Flowlab. So if you don't know, Pong was the very first video game created by a really cool guy named Ralph Baer. And so this is going to allow us to create Pong using the free software Flowlab. My students are using in class now. And we're going to create everything in here. It's going to be a multiplayer game. We're going to have the physics and the scorekeeping. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to get into your Flowlab account. I will be using a school account, but you can be using the free account. And once you create your account, you're going to come over here and click on the green button that says New Game. And then go ahead and let it load up. And you're going to choose an empty project and click OK. All right, so we want this to be a landscape-oriented game, so we want it to be wider than it is tall. So we're going to come down here and click on Settings. And we're going to go ahead and name this. For the gravity X and the gravity Y, since we're playing a game like Pong, where we want the ball to be ricocheting back and forth and bounce off the walls up and down, we're actually going to zero out the gravity. So instead of clicking on this little minus symbol to get rid of the y-axis, you can just go ahead and select it and you can type in 0. So remember that the x-axis is your horizontal axis, left and right, and your y-axis is up and down. We're going to go ahead and make the game wider than it is high. So I'm going to go ahead and change it from 10, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just do 20. And for the height, I'll maybe go up to 12. Something like that looks good. We'll go ahead and we'll press OK. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to set a background color, just so we aren't staring at that bright white. So we're going to come down here and we're going to go here to Layer, and we're going to choose Background. So now we're actually editing the background layer. So we can add in objects and things like that. But what we want to do is we can actually go here to Game Levels. And here's where you can see the level name, the color of the level, and some other settings here. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to change this from level 1. We're just going to go ahead and call this main, since we're only having one main level. And we can click right here on this color swatch. And really, you can choose anything you want. Now, if you wanted to make a custom art sprite that you wanted to put in the background, and you wanted to hand draw something in any style you wanted to, and use a painting app like Photoshop or Krita or Pixlr online, you could go ahead and do that. You'd want to make sure to put that in the background layer. For this one, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and do a solid color. So I'm going to go ahead and choose something over here, kind of a reddish orange color. All right, we'll give that a shot and say OK. So before we finish up, if you wanted to do a custom sprite as the background, what you would do is you'd need to figure out how big your game is, and you can do that simply by coming down here to Settings, reminding yourself what the width and the height dimensions are. So mine is 20 by 12. And then you have to know that each of these tiles, each one of these grid spaces in Flowlab is 32 by 32 pixels. So what you would do is you would figure out what's 32 times 20. So I'll just go ahead and do that here, 32 times 20, and you'll see that that's 640. And then you do the same, 32 times 12, and that's 384. So you take those numbers and you'd go into your painting app. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly demo with Pixlr here. And I'm going to go ahead and use the advanced one. I'm going to create new. And then over here, I would go ahead and I type in my dimensions. So it was 640 and the height was 384 in pixels. I'm going to want to turn on the background, and I'll just go ahead and leave it at white, and you can see that's why it's bigger there. So I'll say create, and here we go. This is the exact same size as my Flowlab game. And I could go ahead and do whatever I want. This tutorial series is not in Pixlr, so I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I'll just go ahead and I'll choose something. So I'll just make it a purple, give it a fill color, and I'll go ahead and add a layer just so you can show you how you can do something here custom. I'll go ahead and grab brush, and I'll just choose a white, say okay, and I could go ahead and I could brush in something I wanted to. And again, they have different brushes here. Maybe I'll choose a square brush, and you could go ahead and you could do some design. You don't want to do too much of a design because this is going to be in the background, so you don't have to be distracting to players. I'm just going to go ahead and make a kind of a dashed line that would be work as the net or the line that the players have to cross with the ball. So I'm going to go ahead and do file save, and we'll just call this Pong BG. You would want to save this as either a JPEG or a PNG. I'm going to go ahead and save it as a JPEG. Now, if you are doing this step, before you save it as a JPEG, you'd want to save it as a PXD, this last one right here. So I'll just go ahead and hit download there. And what that does is it downloads your project with all of your layers attached, whether you have one layer or you have 20 layers. Then to bring it into Flowlab, you want to do another file save, and you want to save it as a JPEG. So, okay, so there we go. It's a JPEG, and I'll press download again. All right, once that's done, then you'd want to come here to Flowlab. You'd want to go here to layer and make sure you're on the background layer. Then you go ahead and you'd want to click. There we go. And you'd want to create. And I'll just call this BG for the sprite. Edit the sprite. I'm going to choose upload. Choose my file. Notice that I have the PXD here, but it doesn't show up because only Pixlr can use PXD files. I'm going to choose the JPEG, choose open, okay, and there you can see it there. Now you can do some editing here in Flowlab if you change your mind. I'm just going to press OK, OK again, and you'll see that I've got my sprite here and I can drag and drop it into place. And because I went off of my settings, you can see that it fits. Now, when I continue this tutorial series, I'm not going to use the background sprite. I just wanted to show you how you could do it. So when I see you in the next video tutorial, we're going to go ahead and make our assets, which are going to be our paddles and the ball itself. So I'll see you in the next one.